How many moms do we have on already so far tonight? Good evening, everybody. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms joining us. How's the audio? Always wonder about the audio because there's no good way that I can monitor it. Awesome. Hey, thanks, Chet. How are you tonight? If it's good on YouTube, it's got to be good on Facebook. It's coming from the same stack. Yeah, glad you guys are here. Well, I've had a full day. Yes, power's back on. And I had some catching up to do. Hey, Arnaldo! Hello! God, I love it when you show up. That's just so amazing. It's 2 a.m. Hi, Roger. Good to have you with us. Is this your first time or have you been here before? First time, yeah. Well, welcome. Glad to have you. Glad you made it. Glad you're here. Tanya, how are you? Happy Mother's Day. Hi, Jean. Welcome aboard. Let's go ahead and get going. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here on a holiday Sunday evening. I imagine many of you have had big full days with your family. And welcome to Roger, first time to join us on the Sunday night meeting. So we're glad you're here. There's Brittany on YouTube this time. Brittany, you're just all over the place. you are here and there. So yeah, great. Good to have you with us for the first time, Roger. And yeah, hang out at YouTube. It's a simulcast. So exactly. That's great. Arnaldo is here with us from Spain at 2 a.m. So I've heard from various people that they weren't going to be here tonight because of the still family activities. So I kind of figured that we would just have a little more intimate get together, and I've kind of planned accordingly on the slides and everything of what we were talking about because, you know, one of the things, and Gene just mentioned a great point. This is just so spot on, you know, that when we come together here, good things happen. And I've got to admit, I've still been pushing hard, although throttled back. But yesterday, we had Friday night, a storm came through here. And you can see what it's kind of like behind me. I mean, it's nothing but just trees back there. And a big tree that you couldn't get your arms around. I mean, this thing was massive when they were cutting the trunk down, right onto the power lines. and snapped a pole in half and brought the lines down from 3 or 4 poles to the ground. So needless to say, the power was out all day yesterday. And hi, Kristen. Hey, glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. And let's see. So who is this? Because I'd love to know who you guys are. And I think I can kind of dance around. But yeah, I'd love to know who that is. And happy Mother's Day to all the moms. Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. So I had to scramble yesterday because I had quite a few webinars through the afternoon. And one of them I helped kind of conceive with Robert Glasscock on a different take on his astrology. So, and it, he read my chart. So it's like I had to show up for that. Like if I hadn't been there, no excuses. So I had to figure it out. And there was quite a bit of schlepping and just, so yeah, Brittany, I know. There's a lot of us that don't have our moms here today. And it is, I mean, and we celebrate those who are with us and that they are raising conscious kids, because that's the deal about being in this group is if you're in this group and you're a mom, you are raising conscious kids, hopefully. And that's the really cool part. So, there's Cheryl. I know that one. See, college buddies, she calls me Miller because that's what everybody in college, hey, Miller. So Cheryl she gets to do that. She said, I'm just going to call you Miller. That's perfect. So that's great. So, yeah, but thanks you guys for being here. And yes, like what Gene was saying about just needing it right now. And that was the first slide. Let me show you this first thing. I was kind of going to go a little bit, let's go to here and I'll show you. This is the deal. So this is part of what you've been feeling. That thing that looks like an abscessed tooth is the Schumann resonance from yesterday. And then on the right side, you see a little wee whiff of today. And on the other side, the left side, you see Friday, almost nothing. And look at the amplitude chart, the squiggly line chart down here. It's like it just went, it almost looks like a earthquake separated a fault, doesn't it? So that was the Earth's frequency. The Schumann resonance is the Earth's frequency measured almost like an audible seismograph. And that's why you're seeing the squiggly lines. It's a sound frequency that the Earth constantly emits. And there's an app that you can find this online. It's a Russian website, or there's an app, and you see how to spell it there because it's right above the right side. SCHUMANN, resonance. And you can graph this every day. And it just happened to come to my attention yesterday. And I saw this and I was like, whoa, no wonder. And yet not everybody felt earthquakes and power outages yesterday. But that was kind of wild. I got to tell you, it's like, I don't know what's going on with that, but it was certainly stronger than any other time. In fact, I think it's still on there. You can search up Schumann resonance, September 11th, 2001, and it will show you. And I think yesterday's was bigger than 9/11. So I don't know. I mean, the Earth is feeling stuff. Oh, and then I went on TikTok. So I put a TikTok video up just a few minutes ago about that. And while I was thumbing around on TikTok yesterday, started seeing these big lights, these oval colored lights in the sky that were kind of a trail coming off of them. And I know everybody says that's SpaceX. Got it. And Melissa and a couple of others posted some great shots last week when SpaceX released those 53 satellites. You remember that? That was the last big rocket launch last week. And then this one on Thursday, they had 53 more satellites. And that may be what it was, that they had gone up there and then they were just releasing those satellites at that particular time, and it happened to peek through, and maybe there was a reflection from the sun or something. But it certainly looked like, whoa, and it was not moving. Like the satellites move pretty fast if you track them across the night sky. It just wasn't moving. And it was seen like over Kansas. And SpaceX launches north or south from Cape Canaveral, mostly north, but sometimes they'll hit that southern window. And it's like, not Kansas. Rocket's over there, not over here. So I don't know. It's kind of wild. So, oh wow, hi. So Nova Scotia, and you'll have to. Is that Janice? Hi, Rogue. Good to have you back. Thank you for joining us. Sandra, hi. Good to see you. Wow. This is great. We've got some new folks in. Annette, hi. Good evening. I think this is your first time too. So we have Roger. Who are our new folks? Christian, you've been here before, right? You've been here. I think you've been here before. Rogue has been here before. Arnaldo, he is the gatekeeper. He is the reason we're here. Arnaldo, for the youth of you who don't know, was in the Fred Dodson Reality Creation Seminar the first weekend of March in Orlando. We met in person for the first time. He's been here every Sunday since. Okay, that's great, right? Thank you very much. He lives in Spain. It's 2 a.m. He gets up for this, and then he goes back to bed. Amazing. I love it so much. I can't stand it. So thank you, Arnaldo. You are a blessing to me. And you know that. I've said it many times. So thank you for being here. Well, okay. So Gene was saying, really looking forward to this, really needing this. And I know we've really created something special here where we come together and we share our energies, and we have really been coming across some really cool stuff here. I thought rather than, I've got a theme tonight. I've been thinking, and I just was zoning into this today. What are we going to, what's there? And spiritual fitness comes to mind. And maybe with that Schumann thing, I just don't even know what to think about that. Oh, wow. Letty. First timer, right? Awesome. Wow, you guys. Okay, great. Well, we're glad you're here. And that's why it's really been cool. I got to thank my friend Chet. Chet's in the room here. Chet found this software for me that we're using that just allows us to simulcast to Facebook and YouTube at the same time. And that's not just easy to do with other software programs. So this is just great that we're able to do this. And so thank you. It's however you find us. We're on both, and it's the same thing. So we're really, really glad you're here. Oh, yeah. Well, great. Glad you're here, Annette. Thank you. Glad you are here. Oh, Samara. Okay, great. Good to have you. Wow, this is great. This is awesome. And Melissa. Oh. Yeah, Melissa's been with her family today because this is, her mom passed last June. So it's been 11 months. Ouch. So let's give Melissa some extra love tonight. She's been processing that. And I know that, for Melissa, her mom was everything. And Melissa and I connected on some stuff this past week. And her mom is like, I really came to appreciate Melissa's path because we were looking at her chart, and her mom came through like in so many ways that is part of Melissa's continued path and journey. And it really was almost like her mom stepped off the stage to go help her from the other side. And what's amazing is it just shows up in her chart. And we kept, one of the things about looking at an astrology chart is when you see the same thing 2 times, 3 times it gets your attention. When you see it about 7 or 8, you're just going, "Oh my God." You can't step over it with it. It's just there. It's there. It's there. It's everywhere. And her mom was everywhere. When my dad died in the year 2000, I was 40, I guess 40 or 41. And I mean, and we knew it. He had Parkinson's. It was an 8-year goodbye. And I cried for 3 years at the drop of a hat. So I totally understand. First Mother's Day for Melissa had to be tough. So we're sending you some love. And I know that you've had your family around you and supporting you. And that's the very best thing to have. Mary, glad you're here. Thank you very much. So, so we all need this, don't we? We do. We all need this today. And coming together has just been so really cool. Let me go back to the slides and let's just review a few things, because now we have so many new people that I thought, okay, let's, oh, wow. Who is this? See, when we're on Facebook, there's a link on the post, and I don't know exactly how it works, but there's a link on the post that if you click it, it gives Facebook permission to use your name on StreamYard when we're here. And I know some people may not want to grant that permission, and that's great, but it is cool when we can see who you are. So anyway, thank you for being here. Wow, haven't missed since August. That's awesome. And that's exactly a founding member here. So this is great. Okay, this is good. So we have really about half are new or have not been here in the last little bit. Oh, okay, Michelle, absolutely. Yes, founding member for sure. Happy Mother's Day. Another person in our group who is struggling right now because her son is fighting cancer. So, y'all are going to get me. I'm going to not be able to make it through this. Oh my. Just sending you love, Michelle, and thank you. Thank you for stepping away from whatever you stepped away from to be here. That just touches me so much. You guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. Wow. Okay. So with about half of us being new, I'm so touched. I'll tell you. Wow. Just thank you for being here. That's so amazing. Hi, Sophie. Sophie is about to become a mom any hour now, not day, hour. Baby was due today, and she was very excited about it being on Mother's Day, and it still could happen. We have 3 3/4 more hours to go. It could happen, but chances are it's going to be the day after or the day after or the day. Sophie and I were communicating earlier, and she was saying that she said this baby is not, she's saying this baby knows what it's doing. It's staying where it's safe and comfortable. And I was like, yeah, these kids coming in today are smarter than we are, guys. They know what's going on. And maybe with that Schumann resonance chart, that child knows exactly. It's like, I'm not coming out there. Sophie, that's the Schumann resonance from yesterday. That's the Earth's magnetic frequency, the Earth's resonance frequency, sound frequency. And the Schumann resonance was just off the chart. I've never seen it that strong, I don't think. I think that's stronger than 9/11. We could compare the charts. I didn't take time to do that, but wow. Okay, let's go back here and let's just review a few things. This is really what I had planned anyway. So thought we would, since we have so many people that are first time, let's just catch up on a couple of things. And then what I planned on spiritual fitness is something that we can apply at the end. So we'll bring it all together and tie it in with that, because I think we all know that there are just a lot of unusual things going on in the world. And it all started for me in January of 2000 when Saturn and Pluto up in the sky, one you can see, one you cannot, conjoined. They were in an exact straight line. The Saturn-Pluto conjunctions happened in the astrological sign of Capricorn, which has only happened 2 other times for the last 1,000 years. 2 other times. One was in 1518, one was in 1284. Both times were major shift periods where old structures, old entities were taken down. There was a gap in between, and then new entities were built up. The first was a transition between the Dark Ages, basically coming out of the Dark Ages through a solar cycle minimum, which caused global cooling, a recession, a war, and a bubonic plague. That was all in the 1300s. And out of that emerged the Italian Renaissance in the early 1400s. 1400 is really kind of an anniversary date. And then in 1518, a little rebel German monk stuck a note on the door of the church that said, "Dear Mr. Pope," with a few expletives probably written in German, that here's 95 reasons why we're not going to follow this stuff anymore. We don't like what's going on. It's fake news. And that started a war because obviously Rome was controlling everything for nearly 300 years. And that shifted all the power to the crown, to London. And over that next 250 years, the sun never set on the British Empire. And then corrupted, and the colonists had come over and they didn't want to pay the taxes. And then you know what happened next. So these things are very key cycles. And we just fired off the very beginning of another one 2 years ago. And about 2 weeks after that conjunction in mid-January, we had COVID. So all of this is just fitting into this structure of things are changing. So as we go through the changes, we need each other more and more and more as it continues to go on. So I am totally committed to being here with you guys, and we're going to keep this going. So one of the things we talked about a couple of weeks ago is just this quote that I found from Bob Proctor that is just so great. His mentor was Leland Van Valdewall. His version of Fred Dodson, I guess, in his life of Fred to me was Leland Van Valdewall, man who is not with us anymore, been gone for quite a while. And sadly, Bob Proctor, as many of you know, or most of you probably know, passed away about 2 months ago. But this quote, "Observation is power, judgment is weakness," really stuck with me for a time that I had heard it about 100 times and it just didn't click. Observation. In other words, being able to, in a detached way, step back and observe anything. Some of you have been with your family all day. Sometimes when families get together, it's wonderful. And sometimes it can end in some conflict. So if you can step back and just observe, judgment is weakness. And that's just a super powerful thing to live by, to follow, is to say, okay, here is a spiritual fitness gym exercise number 1. Let's just put these together. Spiritual fitness gym exercise number 1. I will observe before I judge. To just say, I'm not going to put judgment down until I've observed. And that's power. I want to live by power, don't you? Absolutely. All right. Then another thing that we did, and there's been podcasts on this. So those of you who are with us new, if you're up to speed on the Subconscious Mind Mastery podcasts, you've heard these podcasts, because typically we break the news here and then follow it up on the podcast. It's been great. So that's one of the advantages of being here on Sunday evening, is being able to catch this stuff first. So the next big spiritual fitness thing that I have really been trying to carry with me now every day is to practice or focus on some element of source. as in unconditional love or peace or wisdom, or like Melissa said, the Star Wars, the Force is with us. Energy, prana, best friend. I love that one. Comfort, healing, consciousness itself, white light, abundance, protection, compassion. All of these areas of the source, the power, the force, the dynamite that created us encompasses all of these amazing things. Beauty. That through the week, this week, I would highly encourage you to focus on one of these characteristics. If you need to, grab your phone and you can take a quick screenshot, or this will be on the screen on both YouTube and Facebook after we get finished with this, so you could come back and grab it. It'll be about, what are we, 24, 20, so about just under 28 minutes in. If you scroll up to about 28 minutes, we'll leave it here. If you try to grab your phone, you want to grab a screenshot of that. We also have a post on the Facebook page that has this list as well. And then we've been thinking about these obstacles, and like one that I would add to the left list that I don't think is on there is being too busy. I've come and gone on that one myself. Sometimes just been in a really good chill state, and then I move. Then I mess it all up. And right now I'm still in that confused state of trying to find stuff, and it's been a little bit difficult. So I am, well, there it is, toward the 3 off the bottom, spread too thin. Spread too thin. And that's not a good place to be. So I'm working on it, and I've throttled back, and then the power goes out, and it's like, oh. So we recognize that we have these obstacles, and life happens, and stuff comes up. So we get over in the right column, and we start to take our steps back towards source. That whole concept of us moving ourselves back towards source. When we were born on this planet, Sophie, when your baby is born, sorry to say that it will be detached in its years until it finds its way back. Sophie doesn't know if it's a boy or a girl yet. We're detached from source, and the whole part of our process is finding that way back. So we do these various exercises of reprogramming our subconscious mind, of taking bold steps toward meditating, slowing down, Thomas, slowing down, saying what if up, our mantra around here. What if up? What if everything was up? What if everything worked up? What if it all worked out great? Hey, I'm facing that right now, and I just realized I need to apply it. So on top of the power outage yesterday, I also found out that this building that I'm in is wooden logs. It's a log cabin, and it's a unit, 4 units here in this little area here, and then 4 over on the other side. And they are being refinished starting the beginning of the month. Well, I'm already working on one audiobook. I think I've got another one that's probably coming, and radio show. And I don't know if they're going to be blasting and spraying and compressors running and all of that, my heart just sank. So I'm going to turn that around. What if up? What if this process works out not past and beyond my wildest expectations of up? What if up? So these are the things that we do to move ourselves back into that state. Some of you I know have been sick recently, or faced health challenges, or have family members facing health challenges. Can you say, what if up? What if in the end, up? It's a great reframe tool. And it's like, what is the alternative? I mean, we don't want to be saying, well, what if it all just goes to pieces? So let's just think positively. We're going to raise the vibe if we do that. We don't want to go the other way. You're not, anybody getting up at 2 a.m. to log in here is living a conscious life. This isn't the kind of conversation you would get up at 2 a.m. to listen to if you weren't. So we're all on the same team. So we just think positively. We think up. What if up? All right. Now, this was the little thing we did last week. And we're not going to do this, but you can listen to the podcast. It still is the last Subconscious Mind Mastery podcast, at least for another day or two. But what we did is from this audiobook that I'm creating, this is going to be my book. I'm not narrating. This one is not Fred. It's not anybody else. It's me. And I'm taking Wallace Wattles' 1910, The Science of Getting Rich book, which is in the public domain, and I'm narrating it with my comments. In essence, recreating that program that changed my life over 12 years ago. That really just showed me a different way of looking at the world and putting obviously my stories and my experience and things that I've learned. So that's going to be available as an audiobook very, very soon. I'm working on it as diligently and quickly as everything can work together to do. So that will be on Audible and iTunes when it comes out, and I'm really excited about it. So some of the exercises from that came of what we did last week together, was just used these different areas, and you can substitute your own area in here. And what I thought we might start doing now is let's start to hone in as I click through these 5 areas that we did last week. You think of what's there for you for this week. What do you want to envision? We just did little 2-minute drills on each of these where we closed our eyes, and you can do that now if you want. Just close your eyes, or you can watch the slides. That we were envisioning ourselves in these different areas, seeing abundance, whether that's money or whatever it is for you. It doesn't have to be money. It can be whatever would make you feel abundant. Same thing as being rich. Not everybody needs a lot of money. So be thinking about what your theme will be for this week. Maybe it's this area. Maybe it's health. But seeing yourself as your chosen topic. We also talked about love, relationship, connection with others. Seeing yourself in that role, seeing yourself on one of those bicycles. Seeing yourself with abundant money just flowing into your life like avalanches or waterfalls like they have around here. Avalanches of abundance. A wonderful, loving relationship. Loving awareness, being able to love and see love in every place you look. Having that degree of love where it's just like you're just consumed with it. Like Krishna Das said about Jesus from his mentor, he just loved everybody. He got lost in love. Could we get lost in love? What a goal. What a vision. What would that look like? Total freedom. Free to be me. Not the me you think I should be. If I'm going to be free, I've got to be me. and we have to know who we are. So just think for a minute. Let's hone in. First of all, let's see, with our eyes closed. Well, and then the other thing that I've been thinking, oh, you know what? We'll do this. We'll do this in a minute. Let's do our vision for a second. Let's just do our vision for a second. Let's get a good vision locked in for this week. So let's pick one area. We did the drill last week where we looked at a lot of them and we kind of did short sprints. Well, what's the most meaningful thing for you, or what's the area you'd like to work on, or a breakthrough you'd like to have, or a need that you have? What is it? And if you'd like to share it, drop it in the chat. We'll take a look at a couple of them. I'm going to share mine here in a second, but I want to get it good and locked in. Yeah, I can tell you what mine is. It's going to be ease and flow, and I'm going to go from the abundance, but my abundance is not going to be money. It's going to be time. That I have an abundance of time, and I'm just relaxed about it. Time to get everything done. Time to go on a hike. Time to work out. Time to do some yoga. Hemmett's coming in a couple of weeks. So that's why I want to get in a little bit. I want to get some trail time in before he gets here. Coming from Colorado to see me. So maybe you'll get to meet him on one of that Sunday night. It's the holiday Sunday night, so you'll have to catch us on the holiday Sunday night. But we'll be here. We'll be here from somewhere around the area. Time. And then to be relaxed. You remember the podcast where Caroline Horn did the Akashic reading, our anniversary podcast for the subconscious mind mastery? And she said, Thomas, you need to slow down. You need to do fewer things. Well, that's what I'm stepping into. That's my vision. And just time to get everything done, that it all just works. That's a vision that I'm creating. What are you creating? Let's see. Having Brittany saying effective communication where people understand me without misinterpretation. That's good. That's good. And Brittany, we love you. We love you for who you are, and glad you're here. Mary, let go of working for others and go out on my own. Yeah. All right. If you have it in your heart, then it wants to come out. Abundance of patience to deal with difficult people in my life and let things go that don't serve me well. Yeah. Yeah. Let's do this. Would you all drop some areas in there? Whoops. Hang on a second. Oh, I have to go over here. I'm going to pull the thing out of the slide here. Let's make a quick list if you guys are game. What are some areas that would be areas that you and I can work on to grow our spiritual fitness this week? What can we focus on? So we already have one. 2. 3. 4. Hit me with some more. What are some areas? Effective communication. Yes, thank you. Slower. I'm going to say get out of the way. How about that? Unconditional love. Good one, Chet. Thank you. Really, I think that's at the top of the list, because if you think about this, love would create patience. Love would resolve fear. Love would make us slower to agitation. Love would forgive ourselves. Forgiving self came up today for me. I did a podcast with a couple of people who are listeners to this podcast, actually. And their podcast is called Love Always Self. And they, a couple of ladies in Austin that are just delightful. I had the best time, and we went for way over an hour, and it was just great and so much fun. And it was just such a wonderful conversation. I think we were enjoying each other as much. And this area of forgiving self came up around self-love. So it was perfect that, and here we are talking about this. So let's see here. Trust and allowing. Gosh, these are great. Forgiving self. Okay, we got that one. Send love to others, right? We got that. Trust and faith. Trust and allowing, trust and faith. Okay. And faith. Good. Align with source. Yeah. Align with, right. With those attributes. Yeah. Loving the unlovely. Or, as we've seen in here too, the hard to love. Creativity flowing. The projects this week. Guiding my clients to be more effective in their life. Great. Love that. This is interesting. So here's another, self-love. And that was one of the questions that the ladies asked me today was how would you, I forget exactly what the exact question was, but self-love. All right, let me do this because we've got a great list going here. All right, here, let's try to just shrink the font down a little bit. And can we still see that? Yes. Okay. We'll put that one over there. And then I've just found it easiest if I copy paste, and then we can start another version of this over here. Okay. Okay, so this self-love. And let's see, add up just a few. Okay. And as you've said, when it's difficult from either others or myself. Okay, laughter. Let's see. Laughter and joy. Good. Man, you guys are flowing. Awesome. Okay. Trust the process. Trust. Oh. Anybody having trouble with that one right now? Allow for miracles. They don't come until you allow for them, right? Maybe the bubble has turned to a shield, allowing only the positive frequencies. From your keyboard to God's ears, Arnaldo. All right. Wow, these are awesome, you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for typing. There you go. Can we see that? Is that in frame? Yes. Okay. Good. I'll let you, well, here, I can probably just do that and it might. Let's make sure if I go to play. Do we have everybody? Yep. Move this one over just a wee bit more. There you go. That's all of them. Creativity flowing is the last one there. These are great. All right. So as we're moving into this week, now, this was not a trap. This was not a trap at all. But have you ever noticed that when we set some kind of an intention to grow, the universe does take us to the gym? And that's a picture of, it was a barbell picture that I put some covering over it so it wasn't quite so stark, but those are barbells from a gym, a long shot of barbells. And you know, when we set an intention like this, then the universe will cross our path with something that will allow us to stretch that muscle. So for all of these areas, you know, these are all certainly, and the one theme that bubbled up here is self-love. So I think I know what the next Subconscious Mind Mastery podcast is going to be on. We'll just talk about that. And what I told the ladies today was that a lot of the conversation was around astrology, in and out. But what I told them was that being able to see that path in the chart, really understanding that there was a path laid out that I chose, Lives of the Soul, book Lives of the Soul. I chose this particular path and it had bumps and bruises in it. And once I saw that it was all part of the tapestry and that it was intentional as far as a person, now, you know, this gets into this whole discussion of could we have made other choices? Yes, absolutely. You know that. Yes, there could have been different outcomes. There could have been different paths, but this is what happened. And as I look back on those years that are all part of the story of the podcast, that look back at all that pain and everything that happened, and just to realize that it was a path that I chose, it executed, it brought me to that dark night of the soul and that bottom when I looked up and out and found other ways and rebuilt and retooled and transformed and came to where we are now. And all of this was just an outflow of that whole tapestry that really just played out in miraculous ways. So I was able to go back with that. And I've done, this is years ago that I did this work, but did the work to clean up the messes where I could. And then have just been living out this different way of being and sharing it with you guys on the podcast. And now it's kind of amped up to a new amplitude, and that this is kind of the way of releasing that hold. I mean, of just not like it was the path. Don't necessarily have to feel great about some of it. In fact, a lot of it I don't, but it's the path. And Earth is a treacherous place. So I think if any kind of way, whatever the failings were, whatever the regrets are, whatever the wish I could do a take two, wish I could have another go at it, wish I could heal that relationship, wish I'd never lost that relationship, whatever it is, kids, that we can look at it as part of a tapestry for your life that is unfolding and working itself out. And I think the quicker that we can get to that point of just embracing that, first of all, especially here in the West and in America, we are so abundantly blessed with so much compared to so much of the rest of the world that we think that that's kind of this standard. We're seeing a very gruesome look at that the world can be a very ugly place right now, aren't we? So when our shadows come up and out and we do fail and others get hurt, we have to come to a point where we do value our own path enough. I mean, let's walk this back. You and I, somebody said one time, I think it was Dave Frank, said that this is just, how did he put it? that this flesh and bones and skin and everything is a breathing apparatus to keep our soul in this form, right? You know what I'm saying? We are an eternal soul at the real heart of it. We're an eternal soul. And this body is really just made to kind of keep that soul going on its path. So when we go through the darker parts of the path, the biggest challenge, Chet said, unconditional love. But the biggest challenge is that we value that path enough. We value the path enough to say that we are willing to understand that we failed, that it was part of the tapestry, and that we are able to forgive ourselves for whatever role we played, but also realizing that we're not where we were during those failures. We're not that person anymore. We're growing. We're growing in consciousness. And part of growing is resolving the past. And it's saying, I was there and now I'm here. I think what makes it easier for me is that I don't do that stuff anymore. It doesn't mean that we're not going to have conflict. It doesn't mean that people aren't going to get upset with us. And it doesn't mean that we're not going to have conflicts in our family. Some of you may have had them today. Doesn't mean that at all. But who are we being through it? Or at least who are we trying to be? And anybody who comes along and tells you that they get it right all the time, run, don't walk away. It doesn't matter who, we're all dealing with our own stuff. So, we do our best. We have our sights set. That's why I'm so glad that we put that review back up tonight, because some people hadn't seen it for the first time. This is stuff that we have to absorb. This is called subconscious programming, right? And how do we do it? Through repetition. It's not one and done. Oh, we talked about that last week, so I can't use those slides. Good luck with that. How much of it stuck? How much of it stuck for me? I got caught up in all the busy stuff too. I got to get all these podcasts out. So I love that program that Krishna Das has. It's called Pilgrim of the Heart. It's on Apple Music. It's on Pandora. It's on Spotify. It was about a 3 hour story from the Sounds True people, from this guy, Krishna Das, who is this chant singer. His real name is Jeffrey Cagle. He was he was one of the original band founding members of Blue Oyster Cult, but he left the band before they hit it big in the 70s. He was over in India doing his spiritual thing by then. But here was this hippie from New York in the late 1960s who found his way over to India and studied with the same guru that Ram Dass studied under. And he and Ram Dass became very good friends. And he did this audio program called Pilgrim of the Heart. And he said the one big revelation, and a lot of you have not heard this, the one big revelation from his time in India, studying under the great guru, Ram Dass's guru, Neem Karoli Baba, was the understanding or the awareness that our path is our teacher. That's it. Our life is our guru. The experiences that we can't forgive ourselves for are the very lessons that we had to learn. That's a bitter pill sometimes to try to get around. But that was the biggest lesson from his time in his years in India with the great guru. The path is the guru. Not some teacher, not some podcast, not some Facebook group. Your life is your guru. So it's like we can quit looking at everything else, and we can quit looking at all the resources. We can quit looking at it's all right here. One of the greatest lessons we could all learn is we all have everything we need. Just have to bring it up and out. We have to trust in it. That was one of our comments. We have to trust in it. If anybody didn't get a screenshot and you want to grab that, go ahead. I'll leave it up for a second. We have to trust that process. So that right there, just that, if we just stayed right there, then would it be easier to come back and say, looking at yourself, Thomas, I forgive you. Yeah, it hurt, but I forgive you. And gut check. Just being honest with yourself. What kind of path are you on now? Where's your heart, really? No fooling anybody, no facades, no veneer. Where's your heart? Because I know for myself, if I know that I'm trying the very best I can and I'm seeking the guidance and I'm trying to follow the types of things that we put up on the screen tonight, that I can look myself in the mirror in the morning when I shave. If I wasn't, then all of this is just hullabaloo and it's a big lie. And that's not who I'm about. So I know that if I'm offering love, I am loving awareness, loving everything I'm aware of. The reading that I got from the group yesterday, absolutely incredible. I'll unpack that in some upcoming podcasts or something. But it just basically said, I'm at a 5-year crossroads of like everything that I've learned, everything that I've done is all culminating and peaking right now. This is it. You know my story. Am I going to be a disappointment? Or am I going to finish strong? My goal is to finish strong. And with that, I can forgive the pain, even though it obviously still hurts, and accept it and keep moving forward. So, why don't we go back again? And I've got this candle, and I know a lot of you have candles. Let's just light a candle together. What do you say? I think this is a good night for a candle. This is a new one. Got it over in Bryson City, North Carolina. It's an Indian, little Indian shop over there. It's supposed to be authentic. So let's see ourselves again in the role that we created, or maybe change. If you've had something come up, you want to take on a different role. But let's just absorb back into that vision of seeing ourselves as seeing the actions we'll be taking, seeing the sights and sounds and smells and action of what all's going on as we're unfolding this vision that we have of our spiritual fitness for this week. And why don't we add this little twist to it? You remember the movie The Christmas Carol? Ebenezer Scrooge and the spirits that took him around and showed him the different scenes. Let's pretend like we're with one of our guides and we're looking at various scenes of our life. And right now you're looking at that scene that you've created, but you're not in the scene. You're over with your guide looking at you in the scene. Watch the scene unfold. Wow, that's pretty powerful, isn't it? Look at your choices. Mostly look at your intentions. Observe where your heart is. And as you're standing there with your guide, love yourself enough to get it right. I love that Bob Seger song, Roll Me Away. He talks about being tired of his own voice, obviously burnout, gets on his motorcycle and rides into the wind. And then he said he's standing on the great divide of the mountains. He looks up and he sees a hawk flying, and his soul began to rise. And he said, by gosh, next time we'll get it right. Roll me away. That's the take two. Look at your scene. By golly, this time we'll get it right. and we're in this together. You've got a lot of support to get it right this time. That song's on YouTube if you want to listen to it. We'll get it right. I can't sing, but especially like that. We'll get it right. And the path that we take is our teacher. If you'd like to continue, I know we're longer than we normally go, and I absolutely didn't expect to go this long tonight. I was feeling a little tired and kind of, myself having a little slump, and you guys just brought me right up. So we could stay right there with that meditation for a few more minutes of, as we close, just being in that space of watching ourselves in that scene, checking our intentions, our motives, our heart. Pure, unfiltered, you know what it really is. If anything needs to be changed, just tweak it. Get out your journal, start writing, and work through it. So thank you again for being here. You guys are amazing. I love you so much. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms. Glad you got to celebrate, hopefully with your families, and really appreciate you being here. It really is. Thank you, Janice. Thank you for being here. Tanya, thank you. Rogue, thanks. Really glad you were able to drop back by. Arnaldo, if you're still around, thank you. Have a good rest of the nap for the night. And we'll see you guys. Bob Seger. So you got to meet him. That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, one of the coolest things about Bob Seger and just observing is there are very few in that business who have held it all together. But he's had the same band, the same manager, basically the same team for what now, 50 years, over 50 years. And that song that he did in the 80s, Like a Rock, I won't forget it because those were the years that I was editing the Bassmaster TV show, and Chevy Trucks was a sponsor, and Chevy Trucks used to do a commercial on Like a Rock, like Chevy truck is built like a rock. And but the Bob Seger's song, Like a Rock, and the whole song is just a reflection on his life of looking back, and by golly, in an industry that it was tough to do it in, he did it right. He did it like a rock. And one of the things that is so telling is there were a few bands that did not sell out to the publishers. And Bob Seger, the Silver Bullet Band, was one of the bands that did not sell their tour or their music to the publishers. He self-published. That's spot on. That's nails. So that's let's see. Yes, it will, Roger. The Waddles book will be on Kindle and paperback and Audible. Yes, all three. So when it's released, it will be released together. Audible sometimes takes a little longer. So the Amazon stuff will be released a few days or weeks or whatever before, but it will be pretty quick together. So, all right, you guys, thank you so much and really appreciate you. Thank you for being here and hope you have a great week. Got a good podcast to start the week off with tomorrow. If you're listening to Fun Astrology on a regular basis, there'll be a subconscious mind mastery or two this week. I've got a meditation I've been playing with, been writing on it. So I'm going to do a little meditation to help us kind of just stay in the zone, and we'll do some more of those as well. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. Thank you for your time this evening. Hope it was a blessing to you. And we'll see you again next Sunday night. Bye-bye.